Another hot topic, and that's been kind of going on that we've kind of been seeing for the last 10 years, the religious wars of agile, fragile, predictive, waterfall, hybrid. What are your thoughts on that? Up to here?
Definitely.
Yeah. What's your take? What's been going on the last 10 years with this is concerned?
Honestly?
Yeah, honestly.
Really honestly?
Yeah, honestly.
Just between two of us?
Yeah, nobody else is listening.
I don't care if it's called agile, not agile, hybrid, waterfall, water river.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's about putting things into practice, implementing projects, and you can spend days on discussion if it's a project or not. I don't care. At the end of the day, there's a strategy, there is a topic to be implemented.
Yeah.
It's about a successful implementation. It's about getting people on board. It's about delivering value. It's about bringing organizations forward. And I think we do not have the budget, the energy to discuss about agile, 20% agile, 80% agile. Just get the things done.
Yeah.
And yes, there's a huge tool set of waterfall tools, of agile tools, of whatever tools.
Yeah.
And project management means, as always, taking the best which fits to the team, to the culture, to the content, to the organization, to the speed, and get it done.
Yeah. I'm going to use some words that Scott...
You agree?
Yeah, I agree with you. That Scott Ambler, in my latest podcast with him, said, which was, he called it religious wars. And when he said it, I had to smile because you know exactly what we're talking about. It was kind of like a religious war, you know, but all from the same principle faith, you know, but I'm a Presbyterian, no, I'm a Baptist, no, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. Who cares? Nobody cares. So most of you don't even understand what the real principles of your religion are in the first place. Why are we having these semantic wars? And I've said this several times. Let's start off with the good of Agile. I think Agile is a very, 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 very legitimate critique of the status quo of project management. A lot of the Agile principles address, but once again in a hidden way. It's the funny thing. The most important thing in the PMBOK guide or in any manifesto is the foundational concepts, but we always have to make them pretty so that executives don't throw us out. Because if they knew the Trojan horse that is behind some of
no
these
documentation.
the number one thing that Agile addressed was which is funny because the sponsor was not included in the original Agile concept, was that the conversation between the one who commissions the project and the one who does the project. In German, we have this wonderful word Auftraggeber and Auftragnehmer, which is hard to translate, you know? So the client and the project manager, that this relationship is a much, much, much more dynamic one than just doing triple constraint. And that it's variable. And the real magic of project management, if you leave all the processes and the tools behind, is can you manage the dynamics between scope, time, and cost? Period.
That's it.
Okay? And how legitimately can you predict them, which is legitimate, right? So what they addressed in the Agile concept was that this conversation is not a one-time, it doesn't just take place during initiation planning, it has to be ongoing. So that I embrace. And there's many other things that Agile said, co-located teams, although most companies don't have co-located teams, so that's out the window. Trust your team, great, but yes. Have a product owner, which is another word for product. Why not get the product manager, the one who's actually going to use the system afterwards, in there to say what priorities are? The problem is they don't often have the time to manage a project and their product. There's all sorts of great concepts, but at the end of the day, my summary, after reading, I've gone through maybe 20 or 25 books on Agile. I don't object to any of the principles because a lot of them are valuable, but they're repetitive. I mean, so for me, a story point is the equivalent of effort. Most people don't understand effort. Most people don't understand story points.
For me, not.
Hold that thought. I'll come back to that. But, you know, and I agree with you. I think hardcore experienced project managers don't care what tool they use. They go into the toolbox, they have 5 different hammers, and they just know, and they decide, I want to use this hammer. Maybe because it's the better hammer, or because I prefer it right now.
Or that's just the only hammer they know,
and
maybe.
And this whole concept of, let's create a corporate identity behind our project management thing and down with the old, up with. I thought there was a huge waste of, and the number one thing that pissed me off about Agile is they took a lot of old concepts and just renamed it, which does not contribute to valuable conversation, because we're constantly, so what is it called? And not even among the Agile community, they have different names. One calls it an iteration, the other one calls it a sprint, the third calls it a release. I use sprints and releases because it makes sense to me.
Yes. And at the end of the day, who cares?
Yeah. So are we in agreement that a lot of this, for me, it was all ice cream? What do you think is, so it's one's chocolate ice cream, one's vanilla ice cream. Which one do you use? I want both.
Yeah.
When I need it. I think it's sure. Purpose bound. Let me ask you a question. So what do you think the future of what would we call, what would you give, what's the name that you use to define how project managers have to think in the future? Hybrid, is that? I like the word hybrid.
Hybrid, or just get it done, because there will be new approaches, there will be AI supporting us, there will be thousands.
Let's hold that one, and we need to get to that one.
Thousands of things around, actually, at the end of the day. There's a lot of customer centricity, which is much more important, a lot of design thinking, a lot of team coaching. So there's so many facets.
I think we have to be really, really careful, because the manifesto is good and bad at the same time.
Yeah, but still,
because a lot of people say, talking to people is more important than documentation. Screw you.
No.
If it's not documented, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So it's not one or the other. It's the balance of the two.
And it's the question, what fits best to the team, what fits best to the project, what fits best to the organization, what fits best to the culture.
So you mentioned that you don't think that effort is the same as story point. Why not?
Yes. Why?
Yeah.
Okay. Example. You're ready for an example?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, you like cooking, right? And eating?
Yeah.
So imagine now cooking a goulash on the stove.
Yeah.
Takes you about 4 or 5 hours until it's really done.
Yeah.
Complexity is not very high.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, doing Salzburger Nockerl in the stove, it's a high complex thing. So story points is like a term of an indicator of complexity at the end of the day, and not about the effort and duration. On the other hand,
that's a theory, but it's bullshit.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Because at the end of the day, and this is where Agile.
Thank you for your appreciating feedback. By the way,
no, I agree with you. Conceptually, I would agree with you. But ultimately, and I'm going to say this with some reservation, because most people have a problem with effort and duration to begin with.
Okay,
they confuse the two, right? Ultimately, story points are about WIP limits, work in progress. How many story points can I get done in a certain time frame? So are they the same thing as effort? No, but they are a replacement for effort. And ideal time is a replacement for duration.
Yeah, but it's sometimes easier to estimate story points in comparing complexity of things than really calculating the effort of tasks.
If you want to have a philosophical circle jerk, yes.
I love that. Really, it's one of my things to go.
Look,
you made my day.
Ultimately, I appreciate the different perspectives and I can understand them. And if you can make it work, good for you. Then I'm not the one to judge. But for me, at ground level, and you said just get it done. All planning, all frameworks are there to facilitate, which means to create workflow.
Yeah.
And one of the highest principles, or if not the highest principle of Agile, is getting things done.
Yeah.
The question is, how do we visualize the small things that often get overlooked when you're looking at the big picture? And how can I, on a ground level, on a tactical and on an operational level, create work in progress? How can I create a fair workflow? And the complexity of it means, for me, I prefer effort. Maybe that's a better way of saying it if you say it's not the same thing. For me, I like to replace, because my experience, and this is where Agile falls apart, and everybody loves the Agile concept, but then I disagree with you. Most companies are terrible at estimating story points.
Most companies are even terrible in estimating effort.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. And say this is duration and
or something
bullshit.
in between. Yeah.
But nevertheless, I think just estimating complexity, and maybe it's story points or not, or it's just small, medium, large, or however care, gives you a very rough estimate on how complex, how big the thing is you're going to manage, comparing things.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you don't like it, it's okay for you.
No, and I think
still friends.
I think ultimately, I think that's in the whole Scott Ambler and Mike Lyons of Discipline and Agile, the concept of deciding your way of working, what fits into our understanding, what we can work with. Ultimately, do you have a workflow? Let's talk about the PMO tangent. There's a lot going on about PMO.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.